Knuckles Comic Issue 9. We start off with Enerjack appearing to Kragok and Julie, surprising them, and calls his taking over the world with his soldiers a holy crusade. I hate that phrase being in Sonic, but that leads me to something I really respect about Enerjack and Kragok as villains. It's implied that they really do think they're taking over the world as doing the right thing, in a sort of nationalist warmonger who thinks their people deserve to rule the world sort of way. It's a very believable and realistic motivation for a villain. It's not purely villains trying to take over the world for themselves as individuals, which would really have to be explained in a free and excuse sort of way. They're actually doing it because they think their people, their nation, should be in charge of everyone else, which is genuinely what was believed by nations and warmongers in the past. So it's actually, these are good villains in that sense. Anyways, Kragok says they'll begin their journey across the desert when night falls. And rather than hitting him or something for dictating to him what they'll do, Enerjack simply warps it. He creates a golden path for the army, leading them to Echidnapolis. Why the hell couldn't he have just warped them to it? He's shown he can warp multiple times before, and he's been in Echidnapolis before, so it's not like it's a you haven't been to this place so you can't warp there situation. Once again, if he was allowed to use his powers in a logical way, he would have won, so he's written to be a complete idiot. I like how when Enerjack says that Knuckles is nothing more than a memory at the moment, Julie looks really sad. We still haven't learned about his fate, by the way. That should have been the first thing that happened in this issue. He is the main character, after all. Though I guess they want to keep up the suspense to keep the audience's eyes glued to the page. And as the army starts moving along the Golden Arch, which is probably built really sturdy to not crumble under the weight of all those tanks, that would have been pretty funny and embarrassing for Enerjack, actually. He'd be like, oh, now I have to build another one. The tied-down Chaotix complain about the situation. Why are they being left to die in such a roundabout way when they could have just shot them? Kragok even told Julie to finish them off, right then and there, but she clearly didn't, and yet she still has a job. Knuckles is of course teleported instead of being truly disintegrated, so it's the issue after Eggman was disintegrated by Eve all over again. Wait, that was Aether? I guess he was a little off model, so I didn't notice. In fact, I thought he was a girl. I don't see why you should praise the Ancient Walkers, though. They're just wizards who refuse to use their powers to help fight villains. Anyways, Aether says it makes sense that Knuckles isn't aware of where he is, because individual molecules aren't cognizant of their surroundings. Cognizant? He's got a good vocabulary. Then explains that the Ancient Walkers had saved Knuckles. Okay, so that's one. For once, these guys saw what a villain was doing and actually did something to help. And it sure was convenient that they happened to be watching Enerjack at the time, so they'd know to save Knuckles. Is this what Aether meant by consider this a warning? How could he possibly know Enerjack was coming back? I wouldn't really say this is a Deus Ex Machina, because it's not like he was saved out of nowhere by something newly introduced out of thin air that makes no sense, but it still seems too quick and easy. Knuckles got teleported to the Chaotix so he can untie them, and we immediately cut to Constable Remington, ordering his men to station themselves around the Golden Bridge out of sight and assume the worst. Golden Bridge! See, if Enerjack had just teleported his army to Echidnapolis, which he could have easily done, they would have never had this as a warning. He then complains about a call, while annoyingly, the audience is not told what half-baked idea he's going on about, and goes to the Dingo leader with a proposition for him, who implies that he's not really willing to help him. Remington needs the help of the Dingo military to protect Echidnapolis. Remington then explains that if the Dingoes don't help out, they'll end up a lot worse than they already are. Naturally, since Echidnapolis is pretty much their only place it's the only home they have left now. Meanwhile, Knuckles finally finds it suspicious that he found a hammer, spike, and now a canteen full of water left at the Chaotix's side for him to help them easier. That was Julie's doing, wasn't it? Then Knuckles gets very briefly psychically shown Archimedes, and ends up finding Archimedes because of it. I thought that sphere they were trapped in was supposed to inhibit their powers. I guess it didn't do a good enough job. Kragok storms Echidnapolis with Enerjack and with Julie Sue right next to him for some reason, and she's still not in her cloak. Seriously, why is Julie giving that kind of preferential treatment when she was earlier on dressed just like any other ordinary goon? Now she's being treated like she's very high rank. What is she, Kragok's daughter? I love that actually. Give her a personal connection to the villain and make her more interesting. Anyways, Enerjack seems to disappear in the middle of his speech against the city, just as underwhelmingly as he did when he was first trying to take over the world and just vanished for absolutely no reason, which still hasn't really been explained. Julie had been cringing earlier when Enerjack was first making his speech, but Kragok trying to order the Dark Legion at this point was the straw that broke the camel's back and causes Julie to snap as she throws Kragok out of the UFO saying an awesome line, "If that didn't knock you off your feet, this definitely will, Kragok. Have a nice day. I'm out of here." And what's even better is that she does this in public, so if her being a blatant hero like this doesn't convince people to give her another chance, I don't know what will. Instead of Enerjack disappearing, being vanished by some gardening trickery, he had actually been warped by Mammoth Mogul, which makes more sense. And I actually kind of giggled at Enerjack's snark that, "If I need a lackey, I have more than enough." You know what? I'm actually starting to enjoy this villain. He's so hammy. He's such a large hand, so emotional and loud, and it makes a great comedic contrast with Mammoth Mogul, who's completely calm and reserved. It helps that I'm imagining Enerjack with basically Jet the Hawk's voice. Mogul says that he is no one's lackey, and I'm really liking the prospect that Enerjack will become his lackey, because I lost some more respect for him as a villain for doing nothing but wasting time toying with Knuckles. At least Mogul is both powerful and makes great genre-savvy plans. Even if he plans so far ahead, accounting for so many tiny details, you can possibly anticipate that he seems too hard to believe. Mogul absorbs Enerjack's power effortlessly through the Sword of Acorns, which lets his energy flow to him as a superconductor. And a text blurb explains that he's had this plan since he first got the sword. And the thorough humiliation of Enerjack is beautifully punctuated with Mogul saying the great line, "Consider this. There is always someone else who is smarter, stronger, and even more ruthless than you." I wonder if even Mogul himself believes that. With that, he siphons all of his power, and Knuckles is enough of a hero to catch Dimitri return to his echidna form, instead of letting him smack on the ground and get killed, which he should have done. I guess it is good to have moments of ridiculous heroism like this to remind us that the heroes are in fact heroes, but still, Knuckles shouldn't have saved them. It's explained that Archimedes was the one who teleported Knuckles from the Chaotix there, so there's an actual explanation for why he got here so fast, unlike a certain other time in Kidnapolis. Knuckles' father is watching Knuckles and the Chaotix fight the Dark Legion off, and after it's revealed that he had decided against helping him because he was too emotional about it, Knuckles' grandfather gives me another reason to like him, as he actually lampshades how Locke has been nothing but a distant observer for the most part, wasting our time instead of doing something to help. He says, "Knuckles is your son. It's not a sin to help him out once in a while." Thank you! Although it shouldn't have said sin in a Sonic comic. Locke explains that there are some friends of Knuckles that could assist him while he deals with the latest problem. And Locke's father makes a big deal about the idea of revealing their existence to outsiders. You really don't like non-echidnas much, do you? Oh, I get it now! This is the explanation for why the hell the Freedom Fighters got a message from Knuckles telling him to come to Angel Island for help when Knuckles was way too preoccupied to do so. The system scramblers will make the Freedom Fighters see Knuckles instead of Locke. Well, that's not hard to do since Locke just looks like Knuckles with a beard and a white bathrobe. But you'd think Knuckles will get really suspicious when he's finally told that an echidna who's not him, claiming to be him, sent a message to the Freedom Fighters for help. I'm really glad they explained this finally, in a creative way too. Kragok is captured by Constable Remington, but sadly Julie Sue is too, even though she made it publicly obvious by her heroically humiliating Kragok, which should have been punctuated by a cheering audience at that she didn't want to be on his side anymore. I really feel sorry for her here. I hope it won't take too long for her to get forgiven. And just as the Freedom Fighters arrive late to the party, Mammoth Mogul teleports them and Knuckles away and arrives in their place. Well, where did he teleport them to? If the answer's not a dimension full of venomous piranha plants, I'm never gonna let him live that down. Because he could have easily killed off his enemies that way, but he didn't. Maybe his logic is that he sent his biggest threat to another dimension, no matter what that is, and they have no way of getting back home to his knowledge, and so he's free to take over the world. But dimension of sharks! Come on! That would have been the smart thing to do! I'm surprised Jeffrey had the guts to remark about the lack of choice here. Well, he is a lot like Sonic in personality, but it's easy to forget that because it's been so long since we've seen him like that. He's really been out of focus. This story was written by Ken Penders, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. An action-packed story that wraps up most of the previous subplots, You know, except waking up Hawking or they're talking to Locke. After a long string of doubts, Julie finally snaps and realizes she doesn't belong to the Dark Legion. Though really it's a shame that she gets arrested with him afterwards, when she made it obvious to everyone that she's against him. What, are they blind? I hope they don't drag out her being shunned for too long. Knuckles escaping his previous fate with Interjack felt a little too easy, but it did make sense, and actually made use of it there on the Ancient Walkers, knowing about something really bad happening later on by having them help out. Archimedes gets saved, although it feels extremely contrived, and Knuckles and the Chaotix square off with the Dark Legion after Interjack gets one-upped by Moggle, the superior villain. And just as I was beginning to enjoy him, too. It's a shame, I thought they'd work together and contrast each other. But he wasn't showing that he was willing to cooperate anyways. But why didn't Moggle just brainwash him then? Well, I guess he wanted to have his power for himself. And then that cliffhanger ending. I can't wait to see how all this will turn out in issue 56 of the main story.